welcome. The over 9-month-long Russia-Ukraine war, China flexing its muscles in the Indian Ocean region, the constant threat from Pakistan has thrown up fresh challenges for India's maritime defence. Some acquisitions have been impacted and we have responded by putting forward our indigenous foot, the INS Vikrant. But what role is one of the biggest acquisitions from Russia, Admiral Gorshkov as it was once called, playing in India's defence? How are the other challenges being met? What role is India's biggest aircraft carrier playing? We are here to experience INS Vikramaditya. INS Vikramaditya, India's biggest aircraft carrier. A 23-storied floating city which gives India the cutting edge in the ocean. Vikramaditya was commissioned in 2013. Its MiG-29K fighters, Kamov choppers, long-range missiles give India the extra push in long-range surface, shore and ship strike missions, fleet air defense missions, anti-submarine operations and search and rescue.
When a carrier battle group travels, you are actually traveling with the operational punch. You have aspects of mobility, you have aspects of reach, and you have aspects of sustenance. So typically a carrier battle group can keep about 300 miles of sea under its own influence, and it can travel anywhere between 400 to 500 miles in the ocean in a day. So given the expanse of the Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea and the Southern Indian Ocean, this is the kind of reach, mobility, sustenance and power points that you need to protect our national interests and our national maritime interests.
While Vikramaditya was always significant in India's maritime defence plans, recent global developments like the tension in the Indian Ocean region and Taiwan, conflict in Galwan, the Russia-Ukraine war have underlined the importance of this naval asset even more. Indian agencies assess that 5 to 8 Chinese warships are in the Indian Ocean at any given time. PLA Navy's anti-piracy patrols have been on the Indian Ocean region since 2008. Chinese fishing vessels and their spy ships make their presence felt from time to time. Plus, the threat from Pakistan, which has ambitions of becoming a 50-ship navy. Added to these are new challenges from non-state actors. The pirates, the weapon and narcotic smugglers.
Than just to show how far.
Navy Chief Admiral Hari Kumar does not mince his words when he says, while India believes in Samriddhi for all, it also believes in rule-based international order.
Overall, we help the countries in the neighborhood, and they also, and we treat them with with the due respect that they they deserve. Treating everybody with respect and ensuring that we have a dialogue with them. We cooperate with them, have peace, and then everybody, has samriddhi or prosperity.
Help our viewers understand about the significance of Indo-Pacific. How are we utilizing that leverage to our advantage?
See, Indo-Pacific is a concept, it's an idea, and I think it is the most important idea of our time. And why is it so much significant for us? Because we are, just by geography, we are in a very central location. When we talk of the Indo-Pacific, we believe in free, open, inclusive and rules-based order.
Right.
We don't support anyone trying to say that the existing international rules, regulations, they need to be thrown away and we bring in new regulations, etc.
But the elephant in the room, or rather the dragon in the room, there is a conflict there. There are countries which are not following the rule book.
That is why the importance of dialogue, or samvad that we say. So the constant effort is on to talk, negotiate, and peaceful resolution of disputes.
Drones, for example, are emerging as a new threat. It seems. Are we prepared for this kind of a unconventional threat from our neighborhood or wherever our naval assets are?
See, when you look at war over a period of time, you'll always find new technologies coming out, new technologies, and when the technology emerges, it'll be a disruptive technology. Yes, you're right that new technologies emerged. What has also happened is the technologies are much cheaper. They're not as expensive, and it is affordable, and they got multi-uses in the sense they can be used for the civilians, they can be used by non-state actors, and so on. So there are, and it's a cat and mouse game. So therefore you will have counter technologies being developed. One of the major lessons that we learned from this conflict that is going on is that we should have reliable supply chains, and reliability will happen only if you are developing it in India.
When this 45,300-ton ship travels, it evokes a sense of awe, but also of grace and power. The length of this ship is about 284 meter. It's 60 meter wide, and the total area that it covers is about 20 acres. This ship is manned by 1,500 sailors and about 100 officers, including women officers. Currently, 5 women officers are on board this ship, and they ensure that India's maritime security is in safe hands. Duralakshya Sarlakshya, meaning strike far, strike sure, is the ship's mantra. Its air squadrons, its range of 700 nautical miles, beyond visual range air-to-air missiles, guided bombs and rockets all make this neighbor's envy, owner's pride. It's also unique, providing a runway at sea for the fighter jets to take off. A moving runway which can go as close to the target as possible. The flight deck on the ship is equivalent to 3 football fields. It comprises of a takeoff strip, landing area, along with an area for parking aircraft and other specialist vehicles. The ship is a stow bar, short takeoff but arrested recovery. Being a stow bar carrier, the MiGs are launched from the ski jump, which is angled at 14 degrees and enables the aircraft to be put into a flight trajectory.
The endeavor of the pilot will be to land within the first 50 meters of the landing area where arresting gears are positioned. There are 3 arresting wires, 1, 2, 3. The arresting wires are raised slightly from the flight deck when the aircraft approaches for the touchdown. The endeavor of the pilot will be to touch down within these 3 arresting wires so that the hook which is fitted on the aft part of the MiG-29 case will be trapped on to one of these arresting wires, bringing the speed from 250 kilometers to 0 within 2 seconds and in 90 meters.
Spread over 5 decks, the hangar of this ship at any point can hold 30 aircrafts of various combinations, be it the MiG-29K or the Kamov or the Chetak helicopters. But landing and taking off from here is not easy. When you're on board a static airfield, when you're landing on a static airfield, you can slow down your speed and let the brakes on the aircraft work and bring you to a halt. But here, when you're landing on an aircraft carrier, the pilot has to ensure that the speed is enough for him to take off again in case the restraining gears fail, and that isn't easy. That is where officers like Lieutenant Commander Pooja Behra come in. An ATC officer, she has set a personal record of sort by being the first officer to sail on board INS Vikramaditya. Was it easy to break the gender glass ceiling?
When I had joined, we were told outrightly on our faces that women are not going to be inducted in onboard ships because it's a warfare. It's a warship, and we are not going to be in combat roles and all. But with time, I still remember in 2017 when I asked one of my senior officers, could I join INS Vikramaditya, because I'm an ATC officer and obviously I'll have to be in ATC cadre only. So this place is the only platform which actually gives you ATC duties to do. So I had this thought in my mind that okay, someday I could be able to join INS Vikramaditya, and that time that officer told me no, INS Vikramaditya is still not ready to accept women officers on board. And just after a year, this is about 2020 ma'am, and just after a year in 2021 we had the first women officer to be joining on INS Vikramaditya, which actually kind of clicked me ki why not me?
Women naval officers started sailing only in 2021, and since then 40 women officers have come on board, 5 on Vikramaditya itself. Infrastructural alterations were the first changes to ensure gender parity. While male sailors at Vikramaditya share a 20-bunk compartment with a washroom outside, provisions are being made for attached bathrooms for women sailors who are expected to join as Agniveers.
When I joined Indian Navy, women were not allowed on board ship, and I never saw myself coming on board ship, though I always wanted to, and now they are sailing with no problems. And whatever challenges they are overcoming those challenges. So similarly, when the Agniveers will come, they will also face the challenges, and definitely they will overcome it. Once the women officers have come on board, they are treated at par. They have been given equal opportunity, or would I should say equal responsibilities that they were supposed to carry on board ship, and they are doing fantastically on board.
One question which is put to all women professionals, but maybe because you're in defense forces, the question becomes even more pertinent. How do you maintain that work-life balance? You're a mother as well. Your husband is also an officer. So is that a challenge? Is that a reason why the gender parity took so long to come?
My husband, he is a navigating officer, Visakhapatnam. So he is also required to sail, and he also have his deployments and missions. Presently, I am a mother to a 4-year-old kiddo who is left behind at home. But it's very important to have a parental support at home to take care of.
The floating city with its narrow ladders, maze-like alleys and confusing layout would be the first challenge for the new recruits. Sailors here memorize the route by remembering the ladder number. The sea was kind to me, but imagine climbing up and down with load at high speed when the weather is rough, the ship is rocking and rolling. Life on board is not easy. Sometimes nothing stays in your stomach because of the churning waters. But the galley still tries to give the 1600 plus men and women a wholesome meal. The chapati maker can turn out 1500 rotis a day. The boilers, tilting frying pans, wet grinders, and the fully equipped bakery are all working overtime to make the sailors and officers feel at home.
The challenge what we face while we are sailing out is the maintenance of equipment and maintenance of the quality and quantity of ration while sailing. Depending upon the deployment pattern, we take enough stock with us so that there is no constraint with respect to victuals availability on board.
When a carrier travels, it travels with its armada. INS Kochi, INS Visakhapatnam are just two of the destroyers who give cover fire and protect the assets, as well as INS Vikramaditya. But what else are the responsibilities of these two naval ships? What is life on board a naval ship like? We are on INS Kochi to find out. The bridge of any naval ship is its nerve center, from where sailors look out for the enemy for obstacles, natural and man-made. We meet the captain of INS Kochi, Himadri Bose, as he steers the ship.
The navigation of the ship, essentially where it heads, what it does, is centrally controlled from this position. And we have a team here that controls the communications and the navigation and moving from one place to another as required by the mission that the ship is employed.
Right now, the sea water is kind. But
This is very calm. This is very calm, and we have endured very rough seas. Sea states in excess of 6 and 7. As you see, as you look ahead, the seas are almost placid, calm, like a lake, so to speak. But these waves hit these very windows that you see in front of us. The Navy has got numerous roles: military, constabulary, diplomatic, benign, and our ship has been deployed across the entire spectrum of these roles.
Right.
And military role is primarily what we train for. But in the other roles, that is constabulary and benign, numerous challenges are thrown at the ship. Just to give you an example, in May 21, this ship was involved in Tokte, in rescuing about 125 people. So that's a challenge that only training can prepare you for, because you do not know how how it is going to come at you. Again, tsunami in 2004, navies were the first responders.
We soon see hectic activities on the deck. It's a simulation exercise to recreate the response if an enemy missile is fired towards you. An illumination bomb goes up to reveal the target missile, and the machine gun opens up full throttle. The whirl of the chopper is the signal for the crew to prepare for a rescue operation at sea. From tsunami to floods to oil rig workers getting stranded at sea, Navy has been the first responder every time winching operations had to be carried out. When there were only sail ships, air is the only thing on which sailors depended. But now, increasingly, fuel dependency could be a limitation. What you have been deployed and suddenly your deployment has to be increased, but you have not got enough on board as far as fuel supply or dry ration is concerned. That's exactly the situation that INS Vikramaditya and INS Kochi are trying to replicate. What if you run out of food or there is an emergency on board? While you are moving, can you be saved or can another ship come to your rescue?
During operations, there might be a need which occurs in which a specialist, let's just take an example in this ship, if someone gets injured or there's a specific need of an individual who's present on board the other ship. So this is one way, this is one method we can transfer that person from that ship to this ship. And in times of any emergency, any injured, we can also transfer a person from the other ship.
Right. So you can see how the sailor is being transported from one ship to the other. I see a marshal there giving us signals, and this while both Kochi and Vikramaditya are moving ahead. Yes. Is that how it happens in moving ships, this transfer?
Exactly, ma'am. This is exactly how it happens between the two ships. The two marshalers are actually communicating with using the batons. As you can see, he is moving his arm in a clockwise direction, showing the other guys to pull. And this is a way of communicating, and this works even at night with the night wands.
All right. So we have a choir mat here. Is that also specific, and the strength of the rope?
Yes.
Can you just help us understand how strong the ropes are? What are
Yes, exactly, ma'am. I don't know if you realize this. There was a load which was a load test which was passed. So that was around 150 kgs. So before the transfer of any store or personnel happens, they test the rig for its load strength. So a person up to weighing of 150 kgs can be transferred, ma'am. Even the load of up to 150 kgs, even more so by using multiple trips. So this can go on as long as your men are not tired and the task is not completed.
Right. So you can see the transfer of humans. It's also used to transfer your ration, your oil, your fuel, everything?
Affirmative, ma'am. Mostly the dry ration cargo this is the way which we follow. However, if we need to transfer fuel, there's a different process. It's also called replenishment at sea. It's called underway replenishment, in which the tanker delivers the fuel to the ship using hoses, ma'am.
While the military exercises were on, INS Vikramaditya and INS Kochi also played host to these school kids.
Interesting facts, nothing. Anyone wants to share the experience with everyone?
An outreach exercise by Navy and the Navy Wellness and Welfare Association. 6,300 schools participated in the Navy quiz, and these lucky 8 teams got a chance to compete in the finals on the deck of INS Vikramaditya.
When I overheard the semi-finalists comment about the incomparable experience they have had with the Indian Navy and Naval in these last few days, I knew each one will return home a winner. Think You is certain to have instilled a sense of pride and patriotism. We hope to inspire some of the brightest minds to don the whites one day.
With 70 points, the winners.
The teachers and students were left exhilarated as Navy put up an air show and gave them once-in-a-lifetime experience of sailing in a Navy ship.
I'd say that the air show, especially the MiG-29, the roar of the tiger as they say, and the last day when we had that battle combat scene, I think those two ranked together at the top. Obviously, and the experience at Vikramaditya was something which I think cannot be expressed in words because that is the biggest aircraft carrier in India. So, and the captain was amazing. Captain Menon was amazing.
I would surely tell about their discipline, and I would thank that. It's not their job to invite us, to host us. Their hospitality, it's too good, and I feel every Indian should experience this. But it would be quite difficult, and the most interesting or the most wonderful thing is I experience this free of cost.
Does this inspire you to experience the Navy way of life?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. It's very inspiring. The female officers especially, like the ratio is quite less, but it will increase. That I'm pretty sure, and I'll do this is inspiring, and I'll look forward to join Indian Navy.
After rocking, rolling, swinging over the waters of our west coast, we are finally reaching our destination. The traditional challenges of protecting our maritime assets from the enemy remains, but non-state actors, pirates and drones are the new challenges that Navy is facing. But the sailors here tell me that they do one role which hardly gets spoken about, them taking the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam to the world, them being the true ambassadors at sea.